We're now moving on with Ryan Tuckwood and Jack Corbett. So they are the founders of ISR, which is a multi-award-winning integrity-based sales training and business coaching company. Now you probably know them best as the Shark Tamers because they were able to get 3 sharks from Shark Tank, with Glenn Richards, Steve Baxter and Andrew Banks all collaborating to gain a share of their business. They have now coached 3,500 individuals and businesses with an average increase of revenue of 41%, and their SWISH model has become a global. So they're both also family people where friendship and love are core personal values. So I'm really excited to welcome Ryan first up onto the stage.
Guys, I'll just get you to keep your hands going just for a quick second. How wonderful was Pip's presentation? My mantra in life is always go to bed more educated than when you woke up. And already I've learned an awful lot. I felt that Pip was talking directly to me. So thank you very much. That's really impacted me. I also want to thank Ben. I don't know where he's gone. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak today. Guys, if you've got a pen and a pad or get your phones and your notes out, I want you to take some information away with you today. So grab your pen, grab your paper. What we hear we forget, what we see we remember, but only what we implement do we truly understand. Now after 3, I want every single one of you to shout out what you wrote on that page. I won't be offended, I've probably heard it before. 1, 2, 3. Pushy. 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 Manipulative. Commission driven. They wear fancy shoes, pocket squares and shiny shoes. Not helping myself, am I? Guys, I used to have all the same preconceived misconceptions about salespeople. As Pippa explained, I was an engineer for 8 years. I was methodical in what I did, very, very analytical. I did not want to be a salesperson. Who actually grows up saying they want to be in sales? That's my idea. Who would class themselves right now as being in sales? Jack said to me, why don't you educate yourself on the art of sales, negotiation, body language, emotional intelligence, neuro-linguistic programming, anything to do with the psychology of buying behaviours for the next 60 days. If you're still shit, I'll pay for your flight home, but go home with your head held high knowing you gave it a really good shot. I was like, alright, got 3 months left on my working holiday visa, I'll give that a go. What do you think happened in the 60 days? I get better or worse? Better. A lot better. Went from 21st to 1st in 5 weeks. 5 weeks of just studying the same thing intently every single day. About half an hour to an hour every single day. Within 14 months, I was general manager of that same company. Jack had retired by then. That's a whole different story. 22 years of age, Jack's retired. My issues were, by the time Jack left the company, new owners came into the company, I started to see behind the scenes of the way they were treating our clients. They were not morally and ethically aligned with who I was. They weren't looking after clients. They weren't selling with integrity. They weren't selling honestly. Very Jordan Belfort-esque. Sorry to hit home with any Jordan Belfort fans out there. Very pushy, very manipulative. I didn't like it. It didn't sit well with me. Well, this man out of retirement, 2014, we broke away with a sole mission to change the perception of sales and salespeople around the globe. We started ISR Training. We started working with salespeople, entrepreneurs, business owners, and we wanted to reduce sales cycles, increase average transaction value, increase conversion rates through ethical sales training. Really getting deep down to the root core of the psychodynamics of buying behaviours. And as Pip said, 3,500 people later, average increase in revenue just over 41%. It is working. People are talking about it. But I've been on the journey. And I still can't believe that I'm standing here, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity to do it. But I put it down to a communication training that I've been given, the confidence that I've earned and learned through sales training provided by Jack and many other trainers around the world. Now, SWISH methodology. Without sales, business fails. We stole that from Steve Baxter. Pretty much goes in every single one of our slides. Right? Is it fair to say that if you don't make sales, your business is going to fail?
Yes.
You're not going to become a unicorn unless you are making sales. Sales will dictate operations. If you don't have money coming in, you can't spend it on other operational procedures within your business. Alrighty. Point two. I'm going to skip one. Wait, write this one down for me. Knowledge is not power. Knowledge is not power. Knowledge is only potential power. It's all well and good, me studying all these fantastic trainers and emotional intelligence, behavioural science, but if it becomes shelf help, pointless to me. What's shelf help? Self-help on a shelf. It just gathers dust. We procrastinate. We don't prioritise it. Action is power. So knowledge is not power. Knowledge is only potential power. It is the action. It is the power. So what are we going to teach you today? We're going to teach you what's called the negotiation ladder. It's a 10-step sales process designed to make both consumer and consultant feel ultimately comfortable at every single stage of a negotiation. Now, Andrew's sitting right in front of me on my right-hand side. We use this exact same process on Shark Tank. To a T. We developed it. Every single word that left mine or Jack's mouth on the show, so you saw it's about 12.5 minutes on TV. That's about a 2-hour, maybe about 2-hour presentation altogether whilst we're in the tank. We went through our negotiation ladder, 10 steps. Jack's going to break it down for you shortly as well. When you're learning something new, learn it with the intention to teach somebody else as quickly as possible. When do we want to teach somebody what you've just learned? Straight away if you can. Who here's got a team that they train on a daily, weekly, monthly basis? Yeah? Train them later on this afternoon. Train them tomorrow morning. The second we come out of meetings with Steve, Andrew or Glenn, we're back into our team and we're teaching them exactly what we've just been told. Because when you teach something, you learn it twice. When you teach something, you learn it twice. Alrighty. Now we're ready to learn. Now we're ready to absorb some information. And this is our 30-second sales pitch. Who here thought we were going to try and sell them something today? What day is it? The sales trainers. We break the mold. There's going to be no sales pitch today. We've got a gift for you. Jack's going to go into a little bit of detail about it. But what I do want you to do, from my perspective, Jack is 27, I'm 36. I met him when he was 19 years old. He is one of my mentors. He's somebody I've observed for a very, very long time. He is phenomenal at what he does. In my opinion, he's one of the best live speakers in Australia, if I'm not building him up too much. So, you give him energy, he's going to give it back to you as well. Alrighty? So without further ado, I'd like you to put your hands together. Welcome my business partner, Mr. Jack Corbett.
Thank you very much. How's everybody doing?
Good, thanks.
Good. Should we try that once more? I was told by Ben Simpson in Sydney the audience was going to rock my socks off. I'm a proud Gold Coaster. I think we got a lot of energy, we got a lot of enthusiasm. Try that one more time. How are we doing today? There we go. Go Sydney. There is always a fear when I start speaking that I'm going to try and sell something to everybody from the first second that I open my mouth. And having 15 years worth of experience, a couple of $1 billion worth of closes underneath our belt for ourselves and the businesses we support, I consider myself to be a black belt. If I was a black belt in jiu-jitsu and I tackled you to the floor and broke your arm, that would be a little bit unfair. Be a little bit unfair of me. So today I have no intention to sell anything to you.
Our mission is to bring nobility back to this industry. Brian asked you to shout words at him and you said things like pushy, commission-orientated, liars, sleazy, cheesy. And that's pretty much how people know salespeople to be. I'm actually of the belief that as a salesman, I am about 1% more socially accepted than a parking meter attendant. What are closed questions?
Yes or no.
Yes or no answers. Okay. So if I ask you a question that has a yes or no answer, I want you to respond to me. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Let's try that once more.
Yes.
Okay. Yes is my favourite word. It's a word that I've got addicted to using, and neuro-linguistically it's the most powerful word you'll add to your dialogue. You'd like to buy a new house?
Yes.
Have a faster car?
Yes.
Earn more money?
Yes.
Have a bigger business?
Yes.
Be Donald Trump?
No.
When I'm talking to you, let's just imagine that no one else is here. There is no ego today. I'm not here to impress you, and I'm not here to be impressed by you. We came here with a common goal, to become a better version of ourselves and to learn something that can help us create a better lifestyle. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. We are the most educated consumer generation that's ever existed. We already know in the vast majority of circumstances what we want. If we don't, we have this really powerful tool. It's a website. What's it called? And Google knows everything. But we are also the heaviest consuming generation that has ever existed. We absolutely love buying stuff. We love it. Who in this room loves buying something when they wanted it for a long time? Yeah? Because we get what type of hit? Dopamine. And it makes us feel good. You've seen these people in the shopping centre before. They've got the bags swinging, they're feeling good. They just bought some Louis V's that they can't afford. But do we care if we can afford it? No. Who in this room is born Australian? Who in this room is born Australian? I know Sydney's a very multicultural city. There's only one demographic of people that love debt more than Aussies do. We are in the second highest consumer credit debt per capita in the entire world. So you love buying stuff, and you don't particularly give a shit if you can afford it. As long as it makes you feel good enough. As long as there is enough emotional value. Because unfortunately, our product is so unique to each individual, it's like their fingerprint. So for that reason, all I can do today is introduce our services, and then if you already know what it is you want to buy, you can take our gift and you can use it this evening or tomorrow. Is everybody with me?
Yeah.
So our methodology that's behind me is actually called the negotiation ladder. The negotiation ladder is a 10-step process to creating a customer for life. Fair?
Yeah.
Fair?
Yes.
Perfect. Who's not going to talk to me no matter how many questions I ask them? Put your hand, yeah, appreciate that, sir. No problem. I could talk underwater with marbles in my mouth, so I'll just chat to myself for now. But we discover, once we have discovered, now we earn the right only if we truly believe that we can solve their problem, we can add value to their life to be able to present our service or our product to them to the best of our ability through the use of features and benefits. Then it is time to trial close. What a trial close means is a temperature gauge. Who's got a pool at their property? Who's been staring at it for the months of July, August, and maybe a bit of September thinking, don't see myself jumping in there just now. So what we do is we stick one foot in and we decide against it. If you've ever ran a bath for a 2-year-old, we check the temperature before we put them in. That's all a trial close is. It's low levels of commitment where I'm just looking to find out where am I positioned at the moment in accordance with your desire to solve the problem that you suggested to me you're experiencing. That's all. But what will happen is you will receive your first stall. Human beings are procrastinators. Yes? Write this down for me. Procrastination is the thief of opportunity. Procrastination is the thief of opportunity. When you say to your customer, based on the limited amount of information I've shared with you so far today, is this something you could see yourself taking advantage of? That's a trial close. They're going to say yes, but. Yeah, but. I need to speak to my wife's financial planner, accountant, or my friend Dave because he owns a ute. Right? My cousin Steve's got a drill. I'm going to give him a quick call and check whether these solar panels are the right thing for me. They're going to give you, that's what we call a time lapse. They're saying, yes, I do think it's something I will take advantage of, but, who's ever heard this one? Can you pop it all in an email to me and give me a call back in a few days, weeks, months? Yes, you've heard this one before. Yes. There's 2 reasons someone's not going to buy from you. There's the real reason, and there's the reason that sounds good. Which one do you get 99% of the time? So why do you keep trying to overcome it?
Because you're not picking up on the social cues of what the real reasons are.
Can I help you today and tell you there's only one real reason? There's only one. The real reason they're not buying from you is because they are not 300% sold. What I mean by 300% sold is 100% sold on your product or service, 100% sold on your company, and 100% sold on you as a person.
which one of those three, the product, me, or the company, do you think salespeople tend to promote the most? Product. We talk about our product. What do people buy? People. People buy people. We are now a generation that more than ever has actually really stopped buying products. Who sells the most hamburgers in the world? Who sells arguably the worst hamburger in the world? So you don't buy McDonald's products from them, do you? I think very few people, some, but very few people wake up in the morning and the first thing on their mind is, geez, I could go a Big Mac. I don't think so. But I'm not Macca's bashing, I get caught short. Why do you normally consume from McDonald's? Consistency? Convenience? Price point? Locations? Efficiency?
You know how bad it's going to be when you get it.
Yes. Because anybody who's actually on events from Brisbane, I often have to work in Brisbane and I drive back and there's a new McDonald's at exit 34 on the M1. It's at a place called Beanley. And I can see those golden arches from about 6 k's out. And I just go through this internal battle. Don't do it. Don't do it. You don't want to do it. You're going to regret it. Don't do it. You're not hungry. It's only 25 minutes to get home. I'll just get a chicken burger. I'll just get one chicken burger. That's it. It'll tie me through. I eat it and I feel sick straight away. But I'm not upset. I'm not disappointed in any way, shape or form. Why not? It's exactly what I expected. Right? So what you need to understand is how to evenly promote your product yourself and your company. And really actually abandon product. Product is arguably the least important part of the transaction. I'll come back into a little bit more of that as we get time. I see time evaporating. I wish I'd have had 3-4 hours. But looping, the way that we fill the 300%, the 3 buckets, the 3 cups, is through secondary presentations. So down here in our presentation, we might have used 2 or 3 feature and benefit combinations of the product, ourselves, and the company. But what happens if you've used all your best stuff there? What do you do once you're in the loop? You have to repeat yourself, or you have to deliver a feature with lower value. Like a good fireworks display, or a good game of trumps, if anybody's ever played cards. Save your ace up your sleeve until it is needed the most. Price discounts, extended warranties, free value adds on top, whatever it may be, whatever is your trump card, keep it until you are deep in the loop. Use it at the moment you need it most. When you have loops, you create the capacity to complete the transaction. You can close the deal. Who in here has ever closed a 6-figure deal or greater before? How did that feel? Really good. Yeah? Endorphins running through the body. I feel bulletproof every time. I am literally a foot taller, strutting my way about. When you feel good, you are good. And is it fair for me to say sometimes sales breeds more sales? Right? When we talk about this vicious cycle earlier, when you constantly arrive in a position and a feeling of success, you crave it. Therefore, we focus on it, and where focus goes, energy flows. And it starts to become more of a prominent reality. Ryan referenced Jordan Belfort. Now, me as an individual, I have been trained by what I believe are arguably the greatest in this industry. I've spent over $1 million on my own education, and I've travelled to all 6 continents to be able to find who knows what. What do they know that I don't? And whether it was all the way from the old school, Bill Brightons and Brian Tracy's and Zig Ziglars, all the way to our modern day Grant Cardones and Simon Sinek's and Gary Vaynerchuk's and the likes. The one thing I will say about the Straight Line Persuasion and Jordan Belfort's training program is it told me that in step 8, when I closed the deal, my job was done. That isn't true, is it? Your job is not done when you take somebody's money from them. Your job is done when you deliver on their expectations. Who sets their expectations? So in stage 9, called the customer experience, your aim is to wow. What salespeople so commonly do is remove the capacity for wow by promising you what their product is plus 10%. Or in some sort of circumstances, what their product is plus 110%. If you tell me it's going to be delivered by Thursday and it turns up on Friday, how do I feel? If you tell me it's going to be there on Friday and it turns up on Thursday, how do I feel?
Impressed.
Do you get where I'm coming from? Set the expectations appropriately and create capacity to wow. And that then initiates the 10th and final step of the negotiation ladder, which says that when you wow people, you create loyalty, which means that you will now generate repeat and referral revenue. You've gone from being the salesperson to the consultant, consultant to the advisor, advisor to the trusted advisor, and the trusted advisor to the industry authority. You are the only opinion I trust. Does that all make sense? Yeah? Speak to me. Does that all make sense?
Yes.
Okay, cool. The only other parts to that then are when you do stray off of the negotiation ladder, it can really only be for two reasons. You must either be building rapport or gathering intelligence. What is rapport?
Trust.
Trust, I would agree with that.
Relationship.
A relationship, a connection, a likability, a togetherness, a common ground, a similarity. Yes?
Yeah.
So to be able to have something in common with somebody, we must know something about them. To know something about them, we must ask them a
Question.
okay. To gather intelligence about their needs, wants, desires, fears, previous experiences, future ambitions, we must ask them a so unless you're asking a question, relating to the answer from a question, or listening to the answer from a question, there is no reason you should ever come off of that negotiation ladder. There's no reason you should not be in one of those 10 steps. If you are, then you are either in the jungle or the desert. What happens in the jungle unless you're Bear Grylls?
You can eat.
You die. You get eaten, you get lost, you die. What happens in the desert? You dehydrate, you die. Deals die in the jungle and the desert. But salespeople are the ones that take them there. Because they do not ask effective questions. If I was looking to sell you an investment opportunity that stood to show you a capital gain of $20,000 per annum, and I asked you with an additional $20,000 at your disposal, how would you reinvest those funds? That's a very effective question, because what it does is exposes your why. You may say to me, Jack, I would work less. I say, good on you. Let's say you could afford to have tomorrow off. What would you do with the day? An effective question, because now I'm not selling an investment, I'm selling a lifestyle. And I need to understand, with that lifestyle, what do you intend to do with it? So you tell me you would go and walk your dogs through the national park. Okay, great. If I now ask you, what type of dogs do you have, is that rapport? Yes. No. The answer is categorically, circumstantially, no. Absolutely not. What relevance does my investment opportunity have to whether he has poodles or bulldogs? If this man's ambition in life is to take his dog for a walk, he's pretty fond of them. So I say, what type of dogs you got? He goes, well, I've got 2 Highland Terriers. One's called Jack and one's called Jill. And poor Jack, he got a thorn in his foot last year when we were at Lamington National Park. I took him to the Green Cross Veterinary Surgery, and after waiting for an hour and 15 minutes, the amount I had to pay was greater than the excess on my real pet insurance. What the heck are we talking about? And how do I now get this back to talking about this stock opportunity I have for you without breaking rapport? Don't end up in the jungle or the desert, and remember, it's you that often takes it there. Make sense?
Yes.
Perfect. I'm going to make one more quick comment. I'm actually going to ask Andrew to say a couple of words, just a little bit about, I guess, his perception of us as a business and how we presented ourselves when we were in the Shark Tank, and why he's decided to be a very active member of our company. But I'm going to give you 2 or 3 really quick practical takeaways. Okay? Who's ever walked into a meeting before, tried to build rapport with a client and feel like they're dragging blood out of a stone? Okay. If that happens, one of the easiest ways to be able to align yourself from an emotional intelligence perspective is understand that human beings will connect very quickly to either humour or humility. Now, I'm not asking you to walk in and crack your worst dad joke. That wasn't my point. But when you can walk in and you can use words like, I'm blessed, I'm honoured, I'm so grateful, I'm humbled, to have been able to assist X amount of people, to be able to deliver X outcome, you will find that if you are somebody who is confident, authoritative, successful, and you're super grounded, people will just like you instantaneously. It's an easy thing to like. But whenever you are looking to prize information out of people, remember the power of answering the question you're about to ask. My name's Jack Corbett. What's your name? I'm actually from Birmingham in the UK. Whereabouts are you from? Oh wow, yeah, awesome. Relate. I'm actually 27 years of age. How old are you? I mean, I started ISR 4 years ago. How long have you been with XYZ Limited? When I answer the question I'm about to ask, I cause a social obligation for you to do the same. I know we've got a few customers in the room, and they can testify this, but even when we take credit card details, we say to people, most people put this on a credit or debit card. I do use an American Express myself, but what do you use? Because it's no big deal, and it forces social obligation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah? Say yes or no to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. 2 more quick points and then we'll grab Andrew. Second one, practical takeaway for you. Stop selling what your product is. Start selling why people buy it. So what do we sell? It's not sales training. It's increased conversions, increased revenue for your business, greater capability to scale your organisation and use additional funds to market or add to your human resources. We do not sell sales training. I've been very fortunate in my life to have sold over $100 million worth of solar power systems, but I've never in my life sold a solar panel. Follow me? No one in the history of this country has ever bought a solar panel. Because if you love solar panels that much, you'd have them as ornaments in your home, wouldn't you? Who's got a solar panel above their mantelpiece? Beside their bed? In their bathroom? Have you ever looked at your home and just thought, something's missing? It's just not the facade I dreamt of. And then thought maybe it's solar panels on the roof that's going to make the difference. I don't think so. So why do people buy solar panels?
Energy.
Yeah, you're nearly there, but not quite. We're not a saving generation. To have more money to spend. Okay, so what do you want to spend that money on? So I have sold landscape gardens, driveways, I've sold new kitchens, new bathrooms, I've sold prosthetic teeth, fake boobs, private school fees, jet skis, car upgrades and international holidays. And I did it through the medium of solar panels. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Don't sell the action, sell the outcome. Don't sell the what, sell the why people buy it in the first place. Third and final practical takeaway for today. The number one inhibitor of sales is enthusiasm in the closing process. Who could be vulnerable and tell me they get a bit excited when they're going to close a big deal? Yeah? Anyone in here like me that plays poker? What do you do when you've got pocket aces? Do you go, woo? Sit there with a big broad smile on your head like that? You fit them in your cup? No, you don't. No, you don't. You put your poker face on. Right? So remember, neuro-linguistic programming, we have 3 types of dialogue. An inbound, an outbound, and an internal. Can I just confirm, every person in this room does speak to themselves? Yeah? If you don't, go and see a doctor for me. Okay? That's serious misfire happening. On an average day, you could ask yourself up to 1,800 questions a day. You just ask yourself the question, do I ask myself that many questions? You back that up with, what questions do I ask myself? They are both questions. Remember, your consumer's decision to go ahead is made in conversation with themselves. So if you keep talking at 100 mile an hour like a horse racing commentator, and then you arrive at the point of decision, you're going to hear more often than not, sounds great, can you give me some time to think about it? Because I have not had time in my internal dialogue to process the opportunity and come to the decision that I want to move ahead. So when you're closing, slow the tempo. Sometimes, just sometimes, you can probably say more in silence than you ever could with words. The second you display enthusiasm that I am about to just invest in your product or service, what do I start to think?
I love a deal.
This person loves a deal. That might be because either they're getting a huge commission, I haven't negotiated the best price, or this might be this person's first ever sale. I might be the first person stupid enough to say yes to this. So when you close like the postman. I've never seen a postman, maybe in Mount Druitt, I'm just joking. I've never seen a postman that delivers letters through a door, clicks his heels together and goes, yeehaw. Whoop-ah! Got him through the letterbox. Why not? Why not? Because he's just doing his job. He's done it hundreds of thousands of times before, and there is no financial reward for the action. And if you close like the postman, you'll tend to close everybody that's closable. I was fortunate enough to go over to a sales academy in Michigan, and the big difference was that every time I went to close, they kept putting a plastic baby doll in my arms. And they were saying to me, the baby's asleep, don't wake it up. Can everybody in the back row there still hear me talking? So if you can hear me from 20 metres away talking, do you think one person on the other side of the table can? One person on the other end of the telephone can? But these soft, calm, organic, non-intrusive, no big deal tones are the only tone of voice we should ever ask someone to do business with us. If you want a reference point, Morgan Freeman or David Attenborough are the epitome of sales closers. The epitome. So, without further ado, let's pull some chairs out. Can you guys just put your hands together for somebody I'm extremely proud to have the opportunity to sit beside, Mr. Andrew Rankin. Yeah, why not?
I'm glad you guys came along because you know a lot of people misunderstand sales as selling a product, and I think you're right. This group, probably raising money, should recognise they're in the sales business as well, selling ideas. And when I saw the power of that, we started to apply it. And in Australia, as some of you know, we were the largest recruiting company for 17 years. So in Morgan & Banks, we had the largest single database of brain chemistry, a lot of the stuff you're talking about. So I've seen the enemy, and it is us. We hold ourselves back. The smarter you are in the room, the more technical and intellectually capable you are, the more you have to do this stuff. Because it's really a communication course. It's not a sales course. And then why I invested in you is I feel all the good stuff that I was seeing was American, and I wanted to see some good, authentic Australian sales techniques here. And I love the fact that you did it online because, like everybody, we're time poor. So the fact that you could do it, you know, over 12 weeks online, I thought, wow, there's a real opportunity there. Australia is lacking some of its own authentic product. And as I said, I think it's a very forgotten, misunderstood skill. Selling, to me, is an important part of life. And just to finish that, you know, that you would say that the highest point in my career in recruitment was when I went to New York and I became part of this Monster.com TMP thing. But to put it in context, my company was trading on a price multiple of 90, which means that my share price was highly inflated and highly valuable. So in the recruitment industry between 1999 and 2002, I had the largest checkbook in the world to buy recruiting companies. I bought 56 companies in 18 months. Can I tell you the best advice my chairman gave me? And I said, what is this about acquisitions? I've never done it before, so I grew my own company, and here I am in New York, you know, drinking the Kool-Aid and flying around in the G4, and this is very good. And he said, Andrew, acquisitions is sales. And then I realised what he meant, because I was travelling around the world getting a lot of companies who wanted to sell to me because they wanted to check. But, of course, we couldn't buy them all, we had to buy the best ones. And of course, the best ones needed to be sold. So there I was, you'd think, oh, well, you know, you're the big kahuna, you've got the checkbook, they're all lining up. That's not a sales job. It was. Because the ones that I really wanted, I wanted to sell them, that they should sell their company to us, and that we would look after them, involve them, that they would have a great life after they sold to us, and the share price just wouldn't tank because it was all something that would unravel. And it did.
Cool. Final question to everybody. I'm sure you probably get in similar to me. You might have seen me as I was listening to Pip. I can't sit down for too long. I suffer from a bit of ADD, a bit of Asperger's, so I'm usually got this in my head all day. But the absolute final question then would be, for everybody in here that's maybe only met us for the first time today, how does our business and the sales training program that you've assisted us to develop, how does it stand to benefit these guys?
It'll teach you to be better communicators. And I don't care whether that's trying to get a date, or whether it's trying to raise money, or whether it's talking to your own people, because I actually think highly trained, finely tuned sales process is a communication process. And frankly, the world exists on communication between two terminals. You know, I send a particle, it lands, you get it, you send it back to me. That's kind of what communication is. So I think, you know, understanding a sales process, whether you're raising money, whether you're talking to people that you want to hire, whether you're talking, doing a focus group with customers, it'll make you all better communicators. You can do it online. And the other point I just want to sort of summarize that you made, you know, this bit about questions. The other thing that you have to learn when you're a recruiter is you have to shut up and listen. Because if you understand when you're interviewing people for a living, you have to get them to talk 80% of the time. So here's another basic sort of thing which has to do with sales, which I got maybe 15 years ago. I realized that the best salespeople are interested, not interesting. And ladies, I'll just leave you with this thought. I bet you the men that appeal to you the most are the ones that are interested, not interesting. So just take that home.
Amazing. Then on behalf of everybody here, this has been, for me, sitting in this position, as you can probably only imagine. I'm a kid that was kicked out of school at 14 years of age, grew up on housing commission, grew up with a father that was in prison, grew up with drug addiction in my family. You know, I failed in business, I failed in love, I failed in life. And to have someone of your stature that's even willing to grace me with your presence, let alone support some business, is astounding. So let's put our hands together for Mr. Andrew. Thank you.
Our return on investment in this company will probably be the fastest return on investment we've ever had for a shop.
I'm not sure if you checked his emails, but he did have a board report this morning, and they are exactly correct. We will return our investment in its entirety to the Sharks within 4.5 months of settling that deal. So for anybody who's in here considering raising capital, considering using that platform to do so, I would be a huge advocate for it. It's seen over 150% growth in our business in the first 6 months. So the final thing from myself and Ryan, similarly probably to Pip, we're here, we're interactive, we're not going anywhere today, we're going to be here right through to the final whistle. So we have put aside an allotment of time with our team over the next 2 business days, being Friday and Monday, where we've allocated large portions of our human resources to having continued communication with you guys, answering any questions that you may have. So between myself and Ryan, we'll be sitting in the wings. If you would wish to organise a time to find out a little bit more about what we do and how you stand to benefit from it, then it will be our absolute pleasure to do that. But on behalf of myself and Ryan, thank you very much for your time.